Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be covering some secret hidden changes in the new season Demon Veil for Rainbow Six Siege. This video is mainly going to target changes that weren't mentioned in the official reveal for the season. With that said, some of the changes that I'm going to talk about you might find in the patch notes for the test server, and so if you're already clued up on those then you might want to skip that part of the video, and I will let you know when that part is. There aren't too many changes that I'm going to be talking about, but there are some significant ones that weren't mentioned in the patch notes, and I thought I should make a video on it. With that out of the way, I don't want to take up too much of your time, so let's just get straight into it. Oh, also, subscribe. So we all know that Goyo's getting a rework this season, but what you might not know is that they've completely removed the damage on detonation from his canisters. The patch notes for the first build of the test server said that they were going to be reducing it, but no, it's just completely gone. This means that things like detonating a canister with the explosion of a different canister are no longer possible. It also means that a player stood right next to a canister won't take any damage from the actual explosion, and will only take damage from the fire that comes from said explosion. That makes getting kills with these things just a tiny little bit harder than it was last season. As you're probably already aware, all of the 1x scopes will be available on every weapon from the start of Demon Veil, and that led Ubisoft to make some changes to the Russian reflex sight. In the live build of the game currently, if you have this optic equipped, then your character will hold your weapon abnormally far from your face, leading the sight to appear very zoomed out. That made this sight very strong, and a favourite among a lot of people. Apparently this was too strong for Ubisoft because now in the test server they've zoomed it in a little bit to bring it more in line with your standard 1x scopes. On the topic of the new optic changes, you also might not know that you can now change the sight on Kali and Clash's secondary SMG, the SP SMG9. Before this patch you were just stuck with the standard built-in reflex that it came with, but now you can have any 1x you want. A small visual change has been made to the bulletproof camera this season, where the glass is now going to slightly stick out more than usual. The new bulletproof camera is going to have this raised glass on front, whereas before it used to be completely flush. Alright, so the next few changes that I'm going to mention were covered in the patch notes for the test server. If you've already read those or know about what's in them, and you don't want to hear me repeat it again, skip to the time that you see on screen now. Kali's speed penalty that she had for having her sniper out has now been removed. Because defender cameras will now disconnect after 10 seconds of being outside, for the sake of consistency, Ubisoft has made it so Echo and Mozzie can also drive their drones out for 10 seconds before losing connection, which is an extra 7 seconds than they could last season. Thunderbird's Kona stations will no longer stim you if you are at 100% of your character's health. They can still overheal you, but you need to have at least 1 tick of damage done to your character. Melusi's Banshees will now open and close in 0.75 of a second, down from the 2 seconds that it took previously. Valkyrie and Zero will now be able to select the camera slot of one of their cameras before it's latched onto a surface, they just won't be able to see through it until it does. That about covers it for the things that were mentioned in the patch notes. Now, we move on to everyone's favourite UI changes, because God knows it wouldn't be a new Rainbow Six Siege season if there weren't some random UI changes that no one... Alright, I'm going to try and get through these as quickly as possible because they're all really dull. The ban phase now has a new set of animations that actually look kinda cool. The pause button now looks like this instead of whatever it looked like before. The map name now appears in the top right instead of the top left. The timer now has a red background whenever the diffuser's planted. The warning font thingy is now lower on your screen and has a brighter outline. The text at the end of a round has now changed font. Your team's loadout now appears at the top of your screen during the drone phase. The time shows up on the text chat. The main menu now looks like this. And in the final 10 seconds of a round, the timer will now show milliseconds as well. Right, now that that's over, now back to some at least somewhat interesting stuff. Ubisoft has decided to change the melee animation. I have no idea why they thought now was the time to do that, but here we are I guess. There's now some music that plays in the final 10 seconds of the prep phase that sounds like this.
10 seconds. 5 seconds to insertion. Bomb location secure.
There's some new key art for the game, so every time you load up you'll be seeing this instead of this. You might have seen how when content creators got early access to Azumi this season, they were able to stand on her Kiba barriers and get into elevated positions. Well, Ubisoft has removed that feature for obvious reasons. They secretly removed it before she was even put on the test server. And that's gonna cover it for the video. That's all the hidden changes that I could find personally. If you think I missed any that were major enough to be put in this video, then please do let me know in the comments. If you did end up enjoying this video, then a like on the video and a subscribe to the channel would be very much appreciated as always. But that's it from me for now. I'll see you in the next video.